And now we're outside the ring, and he grabs me by the wrist, and he just goes, "Grit your teeth," which means grit your teeth, and he just goes, bang, and he hits this eye socket.
The eyebrow.
He hits my eye.
Oh, okay.
With one punch, and I have no reason. I'm swearing on my family on this. With one punch, that one punch on the outside. I don't know what damage he did with the one up, because that hurt worse than the other one.
That was for free.
That was for free. Yeah, that was just so he could have already done the damage, but I know, because I had to go to hospital straight after this, right at the end of it. So he hits me, and with that punch, he broke my nose, shattered my eye socket, fractured my eye socket,
oh my goodness,
and gave me 12 stitches in this eye, in my left eye. Right. So I've had a fractured eye socket. I never got it fixed. So it was from that moment on. And then I think I told the story on Chris Jericho's podcast, where in 2018, I had a fall in Costa Rica down the escalator, and I reshattered the same, and this is same eye socket, and that's when I lost 40% vision in this eye. But this was an eye socket that was already shattered from 1996 that I'd never got fixed. Right. So anytime there was damp or cold weather from 1996 onwards, my face used to just ache constantly, like just ache here.
Imagine what would have happened if you didn't grit your teeth. Like,
right. Well, it wouldn't have mattered, because I wouldn't have bit my tongue. He just hit me ear. Like, that was just in case he got me ear, or
right.
He was like, no, grit your teeth, because it was on me. It hit me.
I mean, you could have really gotten hurt.
Yeah. I might have chipped a tooth or something. It would be terrible. So I've got 12 stitches. Well, then the blood starts just gushing out. I don't want to give away too much, but the end of the 30 minutes went what this was planned for. At the end of it, it was going to be a draw. Dave Taylor and Bobby Eaton are backstage, and they're going to run down then, and we're all going to attack Fit. That was to lead on to whatever Kevin had in his head for the next few weeks or whatever few months. Fit was on it, because Fit only came for 3 months, I believe, in 96. He came, and then he went back to do the usual, just over 6 months in Austria and Germany. And then he came back the following year. That's when he came back and stayed, was in 97. So this was it was only here for 3 months in 96, and it was all with me. Everything he did was with me. So again, this is just the tale. So Dave, and all of a sudden there's claret just spurting out of my eye, right? And we're just getting on with it. Well, Eric Bischoff is sat backstage. I told Eric this a few years ago, and he had no clue, because there was a somewhat lack of communication, as you've probably heard at certain times in WCW. So he obviously, Kevin hadn't told Eric that he'd sent somebody to tell me about the. Does that make sense? He hadn't, because he couldn't, because if Eric would have known there was going to be any blood, he stopped it, which is what he did. So all of a sudden, if you watch this match, the cameras pull out
quickly,
because there's claret just pumping out of an hole that needed 12 stitches in my eyelid. Right. Look, if you see now, look, I used to have nice. And these eyelids hang down like an elephant's undercarriage, right? You know what I mean?
Just laying there.
They just lay there. It was all split. Well, that was, both of them are like that, from a lot of things like that we used to do in Europe. I'll put it, I've had so many split eyes, and it's just the style that we worked, and it was just the way it was. It was just, and it wasn't purposely a lot of the time. It was just, you get clipped with things, and because everybody laid the stuff because you had to. Because we were a physical style of wrestlers. And if you went to Germany and you were wrestling every night in front of the same people, you had to have credibility and you had to have believability. And to work that style, it's like working in Japan. You have to have you're going to get caught. You're going to get split open. You're going to get broke nose. You're going to get cauliflower ear. You're going to get chipped teeth. Otherwise, your credibility's gone. Right? It was just a different world, right? And so, and it's far better for the younger fellas now and the younger ladies that they're not in that world and doing that silly stuff to each other, because it's not worked out well for a lot of us. You know, there's a lot of us at our age. I'm glad, you know, when you hear these wrestlers, oh, back in my day, well, yeah, there's some things were good, but the way we did some of the stuff to ourselves and this stuff and that isn't good. It isn't clever.
I'd say the medical knowledge is very helpful.
Right. Yes. It's good that they're not doing that stuff like, now.
No one's saying, hey, punch me as hard as you can in the face twice
right,
if you could.
Right.
Yeah.
And you know, and that, what was I, 20? This is 96. So I'm 27, 28. Right. So I get Bosch, right? there's a claret spurting out. They've pulled the cameras off. So we knew we were professional enough that we didn't care about, we're going to do our jobs here. We're pros. 30 minutes. We knew that we would get that audience would have been in a like frenzy by the end of that 30 minutes. We never ever got to do that kind of a match again. Obviously, you know, that was right. So the follow-up to that was I went to hospital. Dave Taylor took me to hospital, and I had, you know, my eye was all out here. And if you see any of the promos for the next few weeks, you can see me with a, you know, big split up eye. But I've got that. I've got 12 stitches in here. I've got you know, broken nose, which, you know, wasn't the first one. I'd had more broken noses than, you know, than anyone. I'd had more broken noses by the time I was 20 than, well, by the time I was 18, because one of the fellas I used to wrestle, who, you know, was his sort of, he took it upon himself to see if I was going to stick around or not. Used to break my nose nearly every match I had, or at least make it bleed. And I had no problem with that, because it made me who I am, and you know, kept me around, and I didn't quit, and I stayed around, and it's paid off for me, right? And I've had a charmed life. But one of his things when I was 16, it was nearly every match, and this is working a minimum of 2 shows a day with him through the summer, would either go to lock up with me and just palm me straight in the nose, or Ed Mare me, or Snap Mary as you call me, and then just go, oh, bit of blood, and just palm me right in the nose. So my nose has been mashed since I was a teenager. I've had that's after several operations on it. It's not good, right? I have to. It
leans a little bit. It leans over. Just a tad, you know.
Look, just a bit. You know. Just,
yeah. If you need to turn right,